Seems like schools are canceling classes for weather more often these days. You ever scratched your head and wondered why your child isn't in school even though the weather isn't that bad?
Well, in North Carolina, school cancellations can be for tornadoes, hurricanes, snow, ice, and classrooms with no power or air conditioning. However, recently we had an event that caught the attention of meteorologist Kat Campbell and had her asking questions about school closing policies. Kat?
And we were happy to get the ball rolling on this story. So when Tropical Storm Idalia came through, school districts canceled, even though their counties weren't under a tropical storm watch, a warning, or even a wind advisory. So I wanted to know, what are the cancellation guidelines? Is there a print copy they follow? And I found it varies from county to county.
A lot has changed over the past decade when it comes to canceling school in North Carolina.
Back when I was in school, it was only because of a snow day. But you know, with the tornadoes, the hurricanes, all the things we're getting now, every time we just build on this plan.
That plan is about 9 to 10 pages long. It's full of set guidelines Nash County Public Schools Superintendent Dr. Ellis follows in the event of any kind of bad weather.
We've got about 11 members on this this weather committee that has to be assembled in here to make decisions.
I'm sure that there are protocol and guidelines that you have to follow based on the buses, how they can operate, and maybe how they're insured. What are some of those thresholds in terms of wind and rain?
The biggest thing is if the winds are sustained at 30, we can't send buses out.
And is there a gust number that you have, or do you really
I don't know if there's a gust.
sustain?
I think it's about a 25 to 30 mile constant wind is what we worry about. And that's the first thing we ask our emergency management teams in Nash County is, so tell me about the winds.
Dr. Ellis clarified the decisions are not based on whether a tropical storm watch or warning is in place. Instead, they use that wind threshold. I reached out to other school districts, including Wake, Chatham, Johnston, Durham, and Cumberland counties about their guidelines. Wake County tells me that for Idalia, the weather forecast and staffing shortages, specifically bus drivers, were considered before making the decision to close. Some of the other districts did not provide specific information about what factors they used to make the call. There are no federal or state recommendations on canceling school due to wind-related conditions. School districts, emergency management, and the National Weather Service all tell me these standards vary county by county. For example, Cumberland County Schools uses wind gusts and not sustained winds, and the threshold is 40 to 45 mile per hour gusts. Wake County says it is generally unsafe for the buses when the wind is sustained at 30 miles per hour and or gusting over 40 miles per hour. The district also closely monitors the power outage potential, since that is another consequence of strong winds.
I think this is a really interesting conversation to have, understand where you guys are coming from, understand exactly what numbers you all need to know to make these calls so we can be really transparent with you all on air.
In the end, the safety of students is top priority.
There's a kid sitting somewhere that's going to catch a bus. So how they're sitting in the rain, gust, to me, I always think about that, and it helps me with my decision.
I should mention, we usually have a pretty good idea 24 hours out what a tropical system is going to do, and so making those calls can be a bit more concrete. Of course, winter weather is a different bear. The difference between 5 miles can be the difference between plain grass and a full-on sledding hill in your yard, and I know those forecast tweaks can complicate the school's decisions, but I think most parents would agree that the schools tend to err on the side of caution when it comes to the winter weather.
Yeah, and having a snow day is not bad for kids. They're all excited about that. So,
Right.
Kat, did you get any sense of when the schools try to communicate their decisions?
And you know, with this, I think people will notice they're really trying to push for the night before now. So Wake County told me they try to make the call before 9 p.m. the day before. But if the decision has to be made the day of, they will try to do that before 4:45 in the morning. Nash County, they don't have a set deadline for the call, but they always try to make that call the night before. I hope this information can help parents as you're looking at the forecast on a Tuesday and maybe we have bad weather coming on Friday. You can start planning ahead, knowing those numbers that they're using behind the scenes.
I remember even for the tropical storm, I remember asking you, even these gusts seem like they're going to be pretty big here in our area. So great information.
And we'll be sure to mention that in our forecast coming up with any tropical systems. Hopefully we're done for this season.